Okay, welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gilmer and a podcast engineer here. And we're excited to bring you another episode of the World of Ability, which we have here every Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Central. And so everybody's interested in joining us on the show, let us know. Everybody's welcome to join us. The background, the network and the show were started what will be 4 years, exactly 4 years at the end of this month, on July 26, 2020, which was the passage or the 30th anniversary of the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, by then President George H.W. Bush. And so a little bit of my connection here is I do have a diagnosis of autism, and am a part of the Autism Society of South Central Wisconsin. And one of the things is we put on a adult autism conference last several years here. So anybody interested in learning more about that, connect with me. We do have a website, integralautism.org. But to kind of kick us off here today, though, I do have a great guest here who's joining us all the way from the UK, who's all about sustainability. Its own, so Veronica. So I think Veronica in here. So welcome, Veronica. Good to have you on the show today. Welcome back.
Thank you, Emily. I'm really pleased to be back here today. Thanks ever so much to you and Kurt and the rest of the team to get this going.
Yeah, so would you like to refresh everybody about who you are, what you do, and anything more about sustainability at someone?
Of course, I'm happy to do that, as always. So my name is Veronica Broomes, and I'm based, as Emily said, in the UK. I'm based in the city of Sheffield, which is a city in the north of England. And what I do is I work with business owners, business founders, to help them to grow their business, to be able to grow that business, their businesses through revenue or through number of employees, but more importantly, is to help them to be able to integrate sustainability. And some may ask, what is sustainability? And so I usually say it has multiple pillars. So there's usually a part that deals with the planet or the environment. There's another aspect that deals with the people or the social part of it. And if you run a business, whether it's a business that is described as a social enterprise or it's a business that's described as a for profit, it means that you do need to ensure it makes economic sense. And if you also are looking to have access to other people's money, such as loans, it means that you need to ensure that there's strong governance in that business, for example, by way of a board. So sustainability is very much about how businesses integrate the planet, the people, the profit, as well as governance into their day-to-day operations and longer-term plans for sustained growth and profitable businesses, but profitable that would ensure that they thrive rather than merely survive. And we do what we do in my business through three main ways. One is a sustainability audit portal that we have, which allows us to integrate or to provide a report for businesses that want to be able to integrate those different aspects. So that's the first part. The second part of it is that we prepare carbon reduction plans. So businesses that need to measure how much carbon they're emitting from their different activities, we can help them with the preparation of those reports and help them to benchmark or just indicate where they are with the different levels or the different scopes of the carbon that they're emitting from their business. And this is primarily carbon dioxide rather than methane that you may associate with agricultural type of businesses. And our third aspect, the third way in which we help business founders is by way of training, capacity building, learning. And we do this through online courses, online training sessions. And in October this year, we're launching our first Sustainability Audit Summit. So hopefully that gives your listeners a broad introduction to what we do and why it's important to be able to have this conversation with people who listen to the World of Ability podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so your thing that you just said was coming up, is it like a 1 day thing, a 3 day thing? Like, you want to say a little more about that?
Brilliant question, Emily, and thanks for picking up on that. It is 1 day, and the reason it's 1 day is that we're covering different aspects of a business. Businesses that are looking to scale, businesses that supply larger organizations, businesses that actually care about what they do and want to ensure that they're making profits not only today, but they'll be making profits for a long time. And so it is a 1 day event. It's broken up into different sessions. So we'll have panel discussions around marketing. We'll be looking at the finance. We'll be looking at what's described as circular economy. In essence, this is about how we manage waste and to ensure that whether it's electrical waste or it's paper waste or it's packaging or any other material, it doesn't automatically go to landfill sites. We'll also be looking at ways in which businesses can ensure they're reducing their marketing costs or they're reducing their recruitment costs because they're able to not only retain the talent that they have and improve the capacity and skills of the people who work with them at present, but they're able to attract the talent that they need to grow their business in the future. So it's 1 day, it's online. There will be a lunch break, but we'll also be using part of that lunch break for speed networking. Well, how much speed you can network in 20 minutes.
So is it all online, or is part of it like an in-person too?
There
Or is
isn't an
it the whole
in-person
thing online?
aspect to attendees. So the in-person part will be where myself and the other facilitators will be based in Sheffield, in South Yorkshire, and we'll have other speakers who are operating from their particular location. But this is an event, an online event that it's a paid-for event, but it's open to business founders or business owners or their senior leaders in any part of the world. And if they're interested in sponsoring or to share case studies or examples from their own businesses, I'd be very interested in having those discussions. I'm happy to share my details later on when the chat goes out or when the announcement or when the show is recorded on your system, but that we can come to that later. So thanks for asking me those questions specifically around the Sustainability Summit that will be online in October.
Good. So let me bring in Kurt here. Kurt, do you have any thoughts on Veronica has been saying so far? It's awesome that they're having an event in October.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's one of those things that's gonna be here before you know it. The summer's gonna fly by and we're gonna enter into fall and boop, it'll be here. So yeah, good thing we're gonna get these details out and see with our world of ability following, who might want to come in those roles and take part. Um, I guess what I'd like to do, Veronica, if this sounds good to you, is, you mentioned about social enterprise and, social mission and stuff like that. And we met through that, right? With, Edwin spreading happiness around the world, the happy co-op and happy business networking, the happiest place in the world for business people. And that
It
happy
does feel that way.
yeah, yeah, and that zip code of HAPPY. And, so with your experience, with HMP and your obvious attraction to it, we just were on earlier with HMP weekend. And, you know, we had a very interesting conversation for the hour and a lot of sharing. And, you brought up a lot of things that the rest of us learned from you. But Veronica, can you speak a little bit more towards you being in social mission and what Edwin's doing and meeting people through the Happy Neighborhood Project, how has that been very congruent, with why, you're doing what you're doing every day when you wake up in the morning and you're looking forward to do your sustainability work and helping people on the, funding side of it, that economic sustainability, how does it all tie together? H&P, where we met, and, how you're attracting people into the work you do.
That's a brilliant question, Kirk, with multiple facets. And I'd say that question reminds me of the power of networking, because we don't necessarily understand where it can lead, because I mean, most of us don't have crystal balls or claim to have them. So in fact, the first part of what I do, the business mentoring, is what led me to Happy Neighborhood Project, because I was listening to a webinar by someone who works in the small business space, primarily around coaching, but there is some mentoring associated with that particular, that person who was sharing on a webinar. And when she was talking about ways in which others can connect, she mentioned this Happy Neighborhood Project. And I was interested because I thought, oh, I haven't heard about that one before. And so I Googled and found some information and I signed up and I actually attended a Saturday session. And the Saturday sessions have been working for me because usually Monday to Friday, it's difficult to find the time primarily because of the time difference between where I am and the particular states in the US, the time zones that the shows are held in. And so I give that background because it was a simple mention of Happy Neighborhood Project that led me, because yes, I do have an inquiring mind. I worked in research for a number of years. It led me to find out a little more. And having turned up the first Saturday, I realized, yeah, I do enjoy being there. It is a happy place with happy people. And there is a lot of sharing that goes on, as well as serious business, because people share what they do and who they're looking for to connect with. So because sustainability is not a silo, it has multiple facets. And it means that it's not only about climate change or the environment or thinking about waste or travel. It also has people who are integral to what is happening. And when you're looking at your business, irrespective of the legal structure of your business, as I said, in the UK, the term social enterprise is often used, or sometimes it can be a community interest business or company. Those are legal structures, but in fact, they all relate to a group of people or individuals providing a service or a product to others who are willing to pay for that product or service. So the social part of it is very much about partnership working. If you have employees or even if you have contractors, people you're outsourcing to, is to ensure that you're helping them to not only deliver service to you, but they're building capacity as part of their business. You're ensuring that you treat them well, so you're respectful once and you want to ensure that they do understand what you're looking for in your business and they can deliver it, and you ensure you pay them in a timely manner. Those are all aspects that relate to the people, but it also helps you in terms of when you're looking to retain talent, to attract talent in your business. Because whether we like it or not, the skills that were useful in many businesses 20 years ago are not the same skill set that would take those businesses through the next 10 years or the next 20 years. Those skills have changed, and we need to be able to upskill people as well as recognize the relevant skills that we need for this stage of the business and to see it moving forward. So I hope that gives you an insight into the reason I consider partnership working as being so important, the fact that it wasn't H&P or Happy Neighborhood that first got me to connect with you. It was in fact someone else who was delivering a different set of services, but related to business, that had a positive recollection of the Happy Neighborhood Project and thought it appropriate to mention it. And I'm of course happy to talk to others about it. Part of the reason I think we don't have many people showing up from the UK on a Saturday afternoon is that, yes, Saturday afternoon is often not a business time for people working and is often a time that people use to connect with family and friends. And yes, maybe I'm different, but it means that it's because I'm not able to do during the week. And I've met so many wonderful people through the Happy Neighborhood Saturday weekend that I'm happy to drop in as often as I can.
Yep. Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah, we have 10 meetings going on throughout each week, which H&P weekend is one of them. And so yeah, we have 9 other meetings scattered out between Tuesday and Friday, including the worldwide event at 11 a.m. Pacific time, way over on the west coast of USA. So yeah, we are spanning a lot of time zones, and it makes it interesting, putting the schedule together for 10 events and how well it suits people in the UK. But we also have a 24/7 networking room. So that's something that the UK and everybody out in the Eastern world could really take charge in, is to plug into our H&P 24/7 networking and really show, growing times where we maybe could sprout off and open up some more meetings because of showing popularity at certain times through 24/7 networking, and get a co-host team around it and stuff like that. So I really like the format and the philosophy, of how we serve the appetite for networking at H&P. And speaking of appetite for networking, Emily here is our co-host, podcast engineer, scheduler, virtual assistant. She actually grew her capacities in what she's doing through H&P. It started serving a social enterprise with Dr. Anna Maria Bliven out of Madison, Wisconsin. She founded a enterprise of Prosperity Pathways, which really helped the employment front, helping issues in the workforce and creating those connections between the job seekers and those have the work that needs done and where hiring can take place, and even to consider side hustles and stuff like that. It's interesting what Anna Maria went through to get through her journey in life and get into retirement where she's at now. And then in social enterprise on the nonprofit side with Onward and Upward, serving people experiencing homelessness, houselessness, and such like that. And really look at employment to be the solution to bridge that poverty gap where, people are not at a moment able to keep up with house payments or such like that, or pay a rent. And but with the employment, all of a sudden that discretionary money becomes available. So Emily, can you speak to that a little bit? You and I are 4 years into working together. We're closing the gap on July 26th will be the 4th anniversary date of World of Ability Podcast Network. And so, Emily, you want to speak to that a little bit? And as you think of social enterprise, what does this all mean to you, Emily? What has it been for your last 4 years, and what you're looking forward to in the future, Emily? What is this in your journey with what Veronica's talking about?
Well, it's been like a very interesting and fun journey. Yeah, if it wasn't for the Happy Neighborhood Project, not exactly sure where we would be at the moment, because we've met so many people from around the world, and so I wouldn't have met any of them if it wasn't for the Happy Neighborhood Project. And then we wouldn't have those people, and then be doing our collaborations and whatever else that we've created through that as well. But it's been fun getting to know every people and collaborating, the new collaborations, and the I lost my train of thought, like the new business. I keep growing our businesses and collaborations, and kind of thing. But yeah, the whole like sustainability aspect is an important topic, then important to me as well. So
Yeah,
for
so
everybody.
thanks,
I don't
Emily.
know if that's where you were looking for, Kurt, but that's kind of my thoughts at the
Hey,
moment.
I was looking for what it is to you, and you told us what it is for you, so that is great. And Veronica, they say in business, well, in a lot of things in life, right people, right place, right time. So I think I've been hearing a lot on, the right people in the right place. Let's focus on the timing, and let's look at 4 years ago with COVID and the social mission of spreading happiness around the world. We really saw that with what Edwin, started back in 2009, that in 2020, the iron was hot for what he was doing, and he struck very effectively to be available to all of us because we needed what Edwin's work all represent. We still do, but with the challenge of COVID, we just had a resounding turnout because COVID had that disruption. Everybody was talking about pivoting and displaced workers, and just it was a little chaotic. It was a little chaotic, but at the same time brought us to a simplicity because it was stay safer at home. So it was really a unique time in history where people could reflect upon, they saw inside themselves a little deeper, didn't they? And so these conversations with Edwin about what does happiness mean to you? How do you experience happiness? And to learn from him the 3 second rule, that if, or not 3 second, 3 minute rule, 3 minute rule, that, if there's something that's challenging your happiness, commit to deal with that within 3 minutes. And then after 3 minutes, commit yourself, you're going to go right back to being happy because it's a self-determination of, having that default position, of happiness. So, and that's a video that was promoted a lot all along the way. Happiness is a default position, TEDx talk, by Edwin and everything. So again, Veronica, what's your reflection on that? Again, COVID, right now we're in post-COVID time, but I think it's important to gauge, this 4 year journey we've all had, the big year and couple years in COVID time. And then now we're a couple years on the outset of it where we're getting out of that COVID time, but still attentive to precautions. We're seeing people that just when they're experiencing a cold or whatever, we're seeing here in the US anyway, more in our US culture where people are, more reflexively turn into that mask because whatever they're dealing with, they don't want to pass it on. So COVID really got us a little bit more self-conscious about mortality and illnesses and our role in helping make sure others don't get sick. But what have you been gauging in terms of the timing, and what do you think the trend is right now in post-COVID time in terms of where sustainability is going in social enterprise?
Another multifaceted question, Kirk, but I certainly kept nodding because there was much food for thought there. I would say that whilst I came to the Happy Neighborhood Project just last year, so I only discovered that this existed in 2023 rather than earlier, not 2020, it was instructive as well as timely. And if I may be bold enough to modify what you said in terms of business, I'd like to add a fourth. I'd say it's being in the right place at the right time. Sorry, you said right place.
Right people.
Right people. Okay. So it's being in the right place at the right time with the right people. But I'd say you also have to be open to the possibilities because you can have the first three, being in the right place, the right time, the right people, or the right people, and then the right time. But you're just not aware, you're not open to the possibilities because you can be focused on, this is the end goal. And I know a little bit about this because as a coach, you're told, a business coach, you're told to focus on the goal and then work backwards to break down that larger goal into manageable steps. But sometimes you can be so caught up with blinkers that you don't see beyond that. You have these blind spots. So I think what the enforced restrictions in terms of moving out or staying at home and being safe during the pandemic, whilst there were millions of people who lost lives, many families who are still suffering from the adverse effects of that, as well as many individuals who are suffering from what has been described as long COVID. This is, they still haven't recovered. I think it's recognizing that people started to see the way of working and how they engage with their communities, whether geographic or of interest, in a different way. So, for example, now people are much more open to engaging with people online in different parts of the world in different time zones. And whilst I had used online previously, pre-pandemic, it was not as frequent as I do now. Now, when you're thinking about your network and your networking, it's not only the places you can go physically, it's also the places you can go virtually. Now, in terms of the happiness part of it, I'd say that one has to decide which perspective one will bring to everyday life and living, as well as to business and business decisions. Is it the optimist view of seeing the glass half full, or is it the pessimist view of seeing it half empty? And there are times when you're coming up with lots of half-empty perceptions of the glass, you need to be able to step back and recognize that the half-empty perception is not acknowledging that there must be something positive associated with it, even if it might be difficult to think about it immediately. So it's important to recognize that there are positive aspects that provide opportunities despite the challenges. And when it may seem as if there is no reason to be happy, we have to dig deep and step back and recognize that first we can begin by being thankful for life, whatever that life is, but also be thankful that we can make some decisions, usually about actions we can take to make that life better. And there are times in business, and I know this from my own experience, in business, you're thinking, these are the projections, we haven't hit these targets. But rather than saying, oh, I need to give up immediately, you need to think, what are the options I can explore? How else can we achieve the same goal? Who do I need to reach out to? Recently, when I was thinking about the sustainability support business, and the sustainability audit platform that was developed just about 2 years ago, I recognized that whilst this is still early days for the business, as a business founder, I bring decades of experience of working in sustainability from the era of sustainable development through to the Millennium Development Goals, working on environmental impact assessments, as well as social impact assessments. And there are times when we don't recognize that when we bring our authentic selves to our businesses and to who we are as a founder or as a person, we have so much to draw on. And that helps to create the positive, the happy mindset, as well as to help us to recognize that the social part of it, the people part of it, can be demonstrated in different ways and can bring enormous benefits. If we go back to the example you used of someone being able to connect people who are job seekers with employment that is paid to help them to progress or to move forward or to see life in a glass half full rather than a glass half empty.
Yeah, that is great. And I happen to be a member of Optimus International, so it's just very akin to what I've
Now I
described.
see.
Yeah. So yeah, part of a local Optimist club in the Milwaukee area here in Wisconsin, and doing some stuff with their foundation, which has scholarship programs through essay contests or rhetorical contests, and communications contest for the deaf and hard of hearing is where I got, very involved recently. But Emily, I want to draw from you a little bit, Emily, in terms of, again, this role of sustainability. Like, Emily, what does sustainability mean to you? If somebody asked you, and I'm asking, what is sustainability? How do you answer that?
Well, I'm thinking of an answer, Kurt. I do see that we have Alan Holmes joining us.
Oh, are we
So
phoning a friend? We're doing phone a friend on
it's
Who Wants
supposed
to
to,
Be a Millionaire?
I'd like to bring in Alan Holmes here to say hello.
Speaking of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I think that is Alan Holmes, isn't it? Alan, how
It's
you doing,
really
sir?
him.
They're just zoomed in. As I see Dr. Veronica Broomes, she looks familiar. All I heard was sustainability. I'm like, sustainability? What in the world? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's
Hello,
everybody
Alan.
doing?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Oh, I'm still recovering from the non-invitation of a 4th of July fireworks from Dr. Veronica Broomes. But no, I'm kidding you.
I
No, I'm doing well.
don't think that was me. I'm quite happy to refer to Kurt and Emily in this instance.
Yeah. Yeah. So Alan, you've got on your video square, your destiny begins here. That is a great way to start your joining this conversation. What do you mean by that .com? Your destiny begins here. What is your role in our destiny? And if we begin with you, Alan, what is your beginning all about? How do we begin our destiny with
Well,
you?
absolutely. The domain name I had a while back, and I said, I decided to implement it because it is really the foundation of who I am as a master connector. Everybody has a destiny, not my destiny, your destiny. So it at least starts the conversation of trying to figure out where in life I can be of service as a master connector. That's where that comes from. For example, people always like to give me the instant examples. For example, community is the essence of business, and I'm the master connector for it. And they say, well, what does that mean? Well, I provide resources for business owners, whether they're home-based or storefront, the everyday entrepreneur, like those with technologies, ideas, dreams, or those who are households, with those who want to become a sustainable household and want to know about Dr. Veronica Broomes, for example. And so I always tell people, it's not my destiny. My favorite line is not about me, it's about we. And we as a collective unit, collaborate, connective network. For example, those who show up on Wednesdays, and we'll just leave it hanging in there as a MC Holmes. But it's not about me. Again, it's about me. I'm part of the world of abilities, kind of zooming in from this 109-degree Southern California heat. And I said, I believe that Emily and Kurt is doing something. A little birdie told me, Southern California birdies. I kind of zoomed in, and that's where I said, it's all about destiny. It's all about having fun and just enjoying. I hope each and every you had an amazing 4th of July or Canada Day. Happy Canada Day for those, belated Canada Day to all of you. And I hope, Kurt, you and your I see you all in one piece now, so you didn't fall off the ski chute, so you were still doing fun. I know that's, again, that people always ask me, I ask you one thing and you go into a long monologue. Well, okay, I'll bring it back home. It's about destiny. It's about collaboration. It's about having fun and just taking one day at a time and then enjoying life. Back to you, Captain Kurt. I'm just a specialist waiting for your order, sir.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Boy, what an entry. Thank you for providing. So, Veronica, I want to grab on to just a little snippet, just a little word he threw in there. He had his message and he threw in the word fun, a nice little short word. So I want you to speak, Veronica, that we can get into sustainability. You can have everything of your mentorship. We can take a look at, our contribution to climate, issues and, environmental issues, keeping things green and so forth, and go and cover all these aspects. But to me, if you want to talk about sustainability of the human participation, we got to have a little fun in it too, right? Right, Veronica?
I'd say yes, because it needs to be bearable. If sustainability or integrating sustainability comes over as something that must be endured, it means you're not likely to get people wanting to engage. And so it may not always be described as fun in terms of business, but it means it has to be it has to keep you in a state of well-being, of positive well-being. And that is mental well-being as well as economic well-being, because if you're mentally in a positive frame of mind, but economically there are challenges with the business, it will then create that loop which affects the mental well-being, because you're thinking, this business is not thriving as it should. And if it's endured, if it's enforced, and you're thinking, oh, I must do this, not because it makes business sense, but because someone says, oh, you have to complete this particular form to sign up to this particular accreditation, when it may not be relevant to your business. I think that that also creates a risk of you not having fun along the way. My approach and my view is that if you think of sustainability as integrating common sense actions and activities in your day-to-day business to ensure that the people you work with, people you'll work with in future, the owners or directors or investors of the business, the customers that you work with or the clients that you support, if you think of it as a way to engage to deliver what they want, which gives you that feeling of pleasure, and it helps your business in terms of creating the revenues that you need, a steady flow, a profitable flow, and it can allow you to be innovative and creative, well, then that is an enjoyable journey, because sustainability is very much a journey rather than a destination. It's not, oh, we are sustainable. So what? That's not how you deal with sustainability. You're thinking, here's what we can do as a business, and this is what our sustainability audit allows for people to understand. Here's what you're already doing. Here's what else you can do. But you need to decide, as the business owner, the business founder, a senior leader in the business, you need to decide what's appropriate for you. And if it only causes you pain rather than enjoyment, it means you need to review what the approach is, or you need to review how you interpret sustainability in your particular business.
That is great stuff. Boy, my mind is still running with everything that you brought forth in terms of that, and what's real in what people are looking for. There's a saying out there in business and sales that WIIFM, what's in it for me? And so I always say, what's fun gets done. So, hey,
Oh, I love that.
Speaking of fun, I think Earl Williams took that as his cue, because he has a lot of fun doing DJing and serving people's weddings and whatever it may be, and podcasting and radio, playing the music and helping us have fun. So Earl, you want to kind of start at the beginning? What is Night Wolf and, Plainsman and everything you got going on? What's your wheelhouse? What do you bring to us, and how is it fun?
Well, okay. Yeah, I am the owner of Night Wolf Event DJ LLC in Waterloo, Iowa, as well as the Midwest Plainsman podcast. And right now, what I have created earlier this year, way earlier, is my own coaching and consultant services, putting together the years of experience that I've formed with the podcasting, the radio, the DJ work, to be working with individuals and business owners, helping them to create their own podcast and or short videos. So that way I can help them to increase their visibility, bring in new clients, give themselves a professional image. And right now with the Midwest Plainsman podcast, I am working with independent musicians, singers, songwriters, bands, authors, to help promote them, their music, their works. And I've even been in contact with the Midwest Country Music Association to work with all of our upcoming country music artists right here in the Midwest. So I've expanded out just from the DJ business because it was 2001 when I started that. I became not only am I a DJ, but I'm also an ordained minister, event planner, coordinator, you name it. I take care of everything all in one, all in one roof. And then, yeah, I've even started out doing, because I've already had inquiries from local bands into management and helping them with promotions and whatnot. So I have expanded that out.
Good stuff. Wow, it's great to hear the growth, and that's why we love having people come back and give us updates, because it's really neat to stay along the journey with our friends from the Happy Neighborhood Project and everybody collaborating with us, and in this mantra of, working together works, and that's what we're doing here. And
Yep.
you know,
And now that let's see, I've switched internet radio platforms. Uh, I'm no longer with the one over in the UK. I'm now going to be working. Well, in fact, I'm already working with one here in the States called nativefamilyradio.com. The other one is going to be militaryveteransradio.com. And they help to support all uniformed and retired military personnel as well as first responders.
wow, great stuff. Speaking to my heart, I was an EMT IV tech for 10 years, and Earl, I know you're in that role as EMT first responder and all that. So thank you for doing what you do in your community and serving your neighbors there. And and you bring out the realm of music. For me, music is such a key element. Even today at HMP weekend, we kind of had Kathy Weaver throw out the idea, if your business had a theme song, what would it be? So maybe Alan and Earl, you can think about that a little bit. Earl, you being a DJ, you may already have one, but in any case, Veronica, what do you think of that in terms of, we talked about fun, we're talking about sustainability, and I know, like with humanitarian causes at the meeting, I threw out, we are the world, the musicians are just really great to have lyrics.
Yep.
That really resonate with our heart and our soul and really get our mind really deep in the energy of doing this humanitarian work and participating and contributing to the greater good. How does that find its place in what you do, Veronica?
That is a left field question, Kirk,
It
because
is.
I just
I
hadn't
try to
thought
ask
about that. When you mentioned We Are the World earlier, I immediately thought of Live Aid, Band Aid, Bob Geldof, because I need to raise my hand to say that I was actually a postgrad student in the 80s. It's a long time ago. And I remember that's when you'd have had the famine situation in Ethiopia. And that's very much charitable giving in the sense of musicians coming together with less technology than we have now, but deciding that they'll take action to raise awareness of suffering in part of the world, the adverse effect it was having on children, families, women, countries, communities within a particular country and region. And they decided that they weren't content to just hear about it or see it on TV. They wanted to make a difference. They wanted to take action. And so I'd say that whilst you have initiatives like that, where people are using their talent for the good of others, we also need to recognize the importance of economic enterprises that are for profit and enterprises that would allow people and families to have more control over their income, over their livelihoods, as well as what they can contribute to their families and their communities. Because I'd say that if we're thinking only about doing good and we're thinking about contributions that can be described as giving a fish, so you may know that saying where you teach people to fish rather than giving them a fish. And therefore, it's the skills building, the capacity building, the skills, the upskilling, the helping with learning, increasing knowledge, understanding, awareness, and having the appropriate skill set to grow and scale businesses. Those are what will help people longer term, because they can then be in a position to have the ripple effect happening, which is that they're growing not only their own business, but they're growing their supply chain. They're growing other businesses that could be in their local communities or maybe run by women or young people or veterans, because I know in the US you do have a great emphasis on people who serve the country at the highest level or are willing to give of their lives for the benefit of others. So I would say that we need to recognize that if we have an approach and we people in business and we have an approach which says it's not only about today or it's not only about the quick fix for tomorrow, but is developing the skill set, the being innovative, allowing for greater productivity, and being open to the possibilities. It means that we're more likely to be able to have thriving communities from stronger businesses, more resilient supply chains, for example. If, on the other hand, the focus is a quick fix or a fix that is temporary short term and is not underpinned by skills or capacity building, we then are at a huge risk of repeating that cycle. So every few years, we need to have a large fundraiser to support people who are at risk and need urgent attention. And this happens not only with individual groups such as musicians or people in the creative sector, but it also happens at the level of governments, where governments can find that they're responding only to crises or when it's on the brink, it's on the edge, rather than being able to preempt and to reduce the risk of uncertainties. It doesn't mean that we have any control over natural disasters, because those happen. We've just had Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean region. But is being mindful of the fact that when we're thinking about sustainability, it's very much a journey, not a destination. And we need to be able to think about how to integrate the different pillars rather than thinking it's a quick fix and there's only one solution, one way forward.
Yeah, and Farm Aid was also a part of that movement too.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, around that same time, the other two things that you had mentioned, Farm Aid was also
right. Okay.
a
Yes.
part of that
Yes.
movement as well.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So, Alan, I want to bring you in as our resident veteran and, as a master connector. And, in business, there's sayings like flash in the pan, and in marketing, there can be fads and stuff like that. Alan, build off what Veronica was saying, how you balance, there's a lot of, especially here in the US, where, in the world that we're evolving to be more and more an instant gratification society. But to Veronica's point, we got to balance our energy into the right here and now with what is this going to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 3 generations from now. How do you do that, Alan? What does that look like in your space?
Well, no, I'm glad you shared that. And before I answer the question, I want to say it's not a coincidence I have my kind of camouflage type of military garb on, if you will. And thank you, Mr. Earl, for putting together correct me if I'm writing down, Military Veterans Radio we definitely want to keep on that point. This is what we're referring to, is slowing the world down long enough to say those who not only are no longer here, but the veterans like myself and the others who sacrificed the military and their families. This is a very kind of a topsy-turvy world right now with a lot going on, and to stay more of a positive and sustainability, to let them know that their families and the children that are, we say we got to let the kids, you know, the children of the world who or just don't understand why mommy or daddy or the first responders or they're going to a crisis. How do you balance it? Simple. Understand this heart right here, heart. Understand where they are to come in. Just check in with your family member, your friends, your organization. Sometimes it's not about business, it's about sustainability, or just checking in to figure out if those who are having fun, maybe they're talking. My wife, as the people know, and those if you don't know, has mental illness, or I call mental wellness, because she went through a very sensitive between losing her father right in front of her, who had taken his own life. We just recently lost a very prestigious military veteran who basically was smiling one day and now he's gone. It was on my LinkedIn post. So how do you take all that in that tragedy and remember in the celebration of his life and what he stood for law enforcement officers, firemen, those who ran up in this weather, each in California, it's 105 degrees right now. So there are some firemen and first responders and law enforcement won't come home because of that. And the families knows that. So how do we do this and keep that line? First of all, we live in prayer. I always tell people religion and spirituality and all the balancing you have to do is, I tell people there are issues, problems, challenges, catastrophes, and damage control. Well, before we get to the damage control, let's address the issues, the elephant in the room, the pink rhinos in the room, and whatever, and basically address, and then let's have a conversation. We can't have my mother always tell me, all right, we can't be talking and you got one mouth and two ears. Okay. Hearing and listening is not the same thing, huh? What? Yeah. Military veterans, Mr. Earl, I miss you, brother. I'm glad you're back, man. You know, Kirk told me a special guest was coming in, but good gracious, I didn't know it was the legend himself. Guys, is here. You know, we have to balance it out, and that's what I do, is balance it out by just having a personal and human touch, hence the name Master Connector. Brand awareness, lead generation, acquisition or customer alliance, income acceleration, and of course, collaborative networking, what we're doing here. Back to you, Kurt.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple months before I'm actually on Military Veterans Radio. They're going through a restructuring and kind of reorganization right now, but I'm working with the owner to help to rebuild them, and I've already created new promos for the station, and it's something that I'm going to be heavily involved with. But I'm also already involved with Native Family Radio. Basically that goes along the lines of my Native American heritage, and that heritage also promotes sustainability, living off the land, and getting back to those ways. I mean, so many people today have gotten away from that. And it's going to come down to a point where, because see, I come from a small town here in Iowa where practically everybody in town had their own garden, and where everybody was growing their own things. And it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to get back to that point of being able to have self-sustainability. And the one other organization that I'm going to be really pushing on is going to be the organization that was, well, what was created back in the 80s and 90s by Hayden Fry and Iowa Hawkeye football team, was America Needs Farmers, ANF. And that's something I'm also going to be touching on when it comes to uh, putting up notifications for that, so that people actually know what ANF stands for.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
great. And that is an industry that is evolving in its own way, but you're right, we need some backfill on, the ANF thing, American Needs Farmers, and there's probably I never looked at it, but I'm sure there's international application of that. So it'd be interesting to compare what's going on in other nations compared to ours here. I want to do a time check. I know we kind of rolled right through a first hour of World of Ability Saturday here, but we go ahead and do second hour. Veronica, were you planning on staying with us all the way double header, or are you looking to more wrap up, or what's your time? I never did check with you at the beginning.
Yeah, I hadn't checked with myself either, Kurt. So I'd say that I can be around for another 15 minutes or so and
right.
leave you to continue. But it's interesting. Well, I've met Alan before, and so it's good to connect. And I don't think we've had that one-to-one, but it'll be interesting to also have a chat with Earl. And thanks for sharing your LinkedIn. No, it's the Iowa Farmers. You share that link. Are you on LinkedIn, Earl?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll look for you and connect as well. Because I
Right.
know you asked me about time, Kurt. So if I mean, would it be okay to stay on for another 15 minutes?
Yeah, and you're welcome
Starting
that
early?
outside of 15 minutes, if you want to just kind of get off the stage and just listen to us, you're
Ah,
welcome
right.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, I can do that as well.
yeah. So,
So
but
I leave you. Yes. Well, thanks again to both you and Emily for having me here today and to get the opportunity to talk about the work I do around sustainability, as well as how I engage with businesses, and the opportunity to talk about the plug, the Sustainability Summit online that is happening in October. So, Kurt, I'll move off stage and I'll leave the show in about 15 minutes or so, if that's okay.
yeah, that'll be just fine. Thanks for being with us today, Veronica. And yeah, enjoy the next 15 minutes. We'll do it with Earl and Alan here. So here we go. So Alan, I want to give you a chance to dive into. We do the Mastery of Connection show on Wednesdays, and you kind of have an experience in this podcasting media realm that Earl and I are in, and so you want to share a little bit more about that part of your journey in terms of coming in as MC Holmes and being a show host like what we're doing here, and doing the guesting and what that has meant for another little element in your mastery of connection, your master connector mantra. What do you
Oh,
say to
absolutely.
podcasting?
Well, as anybody knows me, I'm humbled. The very fact that you allowed me to come into you and Earl's world, it's just been a blast. I want to start by saying that it was at first a little hesitant because I didn't know I'm always answering questions, but not the lead. But the fact that you had my back as well, Brother Pumnother, you and Emily, I appreciate it. And it allows me to really live the human connection of the master connection. Because, people ask me, what is a master connector? Well, it's a mastery of connections, meaning that it's not just about my individual resources, but our individual collective, collaborative networking resources, such as the Earl, when he was mentioning that with his Native American approach to his radio, that is human. I know that part of my people ask me, well, where are you really from? And I said, because I never met my true mother. And I do know that I was born with my foster mother said that some part of, and then I still have to double check my kind of history and everything else, but I have the utmost respect for the native land and what my history is coming on, and I applaud you all from the bottom of my heart that it is just a warm and friendly group of people that to be able to go back to the land. And you're right, it started our great nation with society of agrarian, I guess it's saying, living off the land. And we have to go back to that, because anybody who knows me, I eat and just eating processed food and all that. And if there was another associate of mine who done company, he would say, Alan, you're not a human garbage can. You have to slow down and watch what you eat. And I said, okay. So it's good to know what you're eating and learn from the elders and so forth. So again, that's a long answer to, as a master connector, it's so honored to never know who I'm going to meet and never know what paths I will cross to learn about the great and collective unit of resources that are out there.
Yeah, because self-sustainability, that is such a broad term that it pertains to more than just business. It pertains to individuals and families and organizations, nonprofit organizations, on how to remain self-sustainable. And that's also the reason why I'm also a part of Lions International, because Lions International is the world's largest civic organization. And we have basically, Lions International gets involved in communities. They help they help their community to sustain themselves. And with the entities of Lions International that we have, our motto is "We serve," and that's the reason why I've been involved with it for many years.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love that word.
That's a good slogan to pick up on. We serve from Lions International, and Lions International is obviously attracting a lot of business people who come in, and there's a lot of leadership, professional development growth available at Lions International. But let's take their motto, "We serve." Alan, I kind of want to look at our HMP experience, and in terms of doing the podcasting. I mean, when we're on here, we're serving our guests. Like, we have Veronica on here, and she's still connected listening to us. So for the time being, we can talk with her instead of behind her back type of thing, I guess. But what does that do for you, Alan, to hear how Lions International has the motto, "We serve," and then we take that into the business realm and we say that's important to have that attitude when you're doing one-to-ones, you're networking, you're typing out messages on LinkedIn or using no card to share your business, to have that disposition of being a servant, to make sure that something is happening that the person you're connecting with needs. How do you look at that, Alan?
Well, that's where really it's my true passion. There's a lot of my resources. I've had several individuals. Oh, you got a lot of individual resources on that no card, or your destinybeginshere.com. I don't know where do you keep it all. I said, well, kind of a secret is out that I worked in hospitality industry back in 2003-5, and I learned that people don't wake up and think of Alan Holmes. As much as my ego would like to get, and I am a lion. That's my horoscope. I'm a Leo, and I realized that being of service is really my true passion. When people say, "Well, how can you help me?" Well, for example, I only learned about the no card because of Mr. Kurt Roscoff. You may know him. I was just on the H&P collaborative. It was like the cooperative that they have on Thursdays. And this has been a fun journey, because when we help our business owners, we're actually indirectly helping their clients, because their clients may not be able to afford their product or services. But if they say, well, you know what, I would like to learn about sustainability, Alan, I would like to learn and get in the radio world. I love your podcast. I say I'm a master connector. My ultimate goal is to be a super connector. You two, in my humble opinion, are super connectors. You have these long tentacles and resources all over the place. And I say, well, it's allowing me to live through you It's collectively collaborating networking, what I love doing best, because my goal is to create the largest network within a series of networks ever assembled. That's social media. No. That is my network. That's Earl's networks. That's Kurt's network, Emily, Sue Roscoff. That is our Veronica Broomes, who we have on here. Just you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking through you. Yes, I'm looking at you. Whoever who's listening on the replay, hey, we've got you. Come join and have the fun with us and see what happens. You just may sustain your way to the next generation and their generation by being on Earl's platform and his project and what he's working on. Kurt, you know, he'll get you to ski every once in a while. He has some incredible post pictures, or and just having their fun, doing it. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what I love doing. And again, my long answer to the point of just collaborating, networking, having fun, as you heard Edmund alluded to earlier, and just seeing where this right thing called life is going to take you. Because you may just make an impact on the world. Back to you, Mr. Kirk.
All right. Thank you, Alan. So, Emily, we're going to come back and put you in the hot seat again. You said you were working on a self-reflection and sharing. When I ask you, and others might be asking you, what is sustainability? Emily, what is sustainability for you?
I don't know. It's just taking care of everybody on our planet, and just to ensure we're taking care of our planet like the best way we can, and everybody that we're connected with, and so on. So it's a little bit of it.
That's a lot of it right there. Yeah. So Emily, you're out there on LinkedIn branding yourself as Super Helper, and we're talking about Lions International having the slogan of "We Serve," and 4 years of being of service in these H&P circles and nonprofits, and in this podcasting realm, and constantly inviting people. You basically practice the art of what I call the mastery of invitation. And so, Emily, how do you want to share your role as a servant, super helper, and delivering the dynamic that I have branded as OMG, EMG? Her middle initial is M. EMG, her initials, OMG, EMG. Emily, how do you do it? What is the We Serve motto to you?
I would just beat myself. For the OMG moment. But I've always been sort of all about kind of helping people and whatever I could do to help move anybody's mission forward. Willing to do so, whatever that is, whether it has anything to do with podcasting or anything else. That's kind of where I'm at.
That is where you're at. And a lot of people know where you're at, and they call upon you, and they text you and email you and hit you up with the social media message, no card messages. They've got about 8 different ways that they can reach their Emily and get a little help. So thanks for doing it, Emily.
You're welcome.
So Earl, how does this show up in your wheelhouse with being the night wolf and everything with your plainsman side of it? And, we're talking about giving of our time and talents. And when we're an entrepreneur building the relationships, there's a little bit of time banking going on because we basically have a lot we invest into the goodwill of our business, and it matures to a point where we say, hey, it looks like we may have a qualified prospect to hire me, pay me, and that I can do their gig and they'll pay my rate, but a lot goes into the process before then. How does that look on your side of it? What's your philosophy, Earl?
Well, yeah, it does take a lot of time and effort to display what it is that you have to provide, and being able to talk with people, show them that I have the experience and knowledge and the know-how to make their event be what they want it to be. And I'm with them from start to finish, as I handle everything. Uh, Now, granted, there are certain areas that I can't handle because I have that's all in somebody else's wheelhouse. I let them handle it. But I can make those connections with other vendors and other people who have the knowledge and know-how with other areas that they need. So I can put those clients in touch with others. So that's part of what I do as well. And I have based my business on the motto of "We Serve" from Lions, uh, to work with people to help them have the special day that they want to have, but yet not cause them to have to break the bank. That's what this year has been all about, is working with people who want to have or trying to put on events and also weddings, special occasions, whatnot, but don't necessarily have the high dollar amounts that everybody else is charging. So that's where I come into play to help them and work with them so that I can provide the services for them and say, hey, I'm all about working with people in the community. I'm all about being involved in the community. That's what I'm about.
That is a great statement you make. And I've really built my last 20 years off of, that understanding, that I learned in my journey in business, that when I saw successful business people, I noticed how they were involved in the marketplace and they were doing great deeds, that, they have the value, the product service they deliver professionally, but they were out there in a way that people can know them personally. And in sales, they teach that a lot of your sales success is how they're really buying into you. That you happen to have these products and services, you do a good job effectively showing the features and benefits, but a driving force of why they bought that product or service is because of
Right.
you.
And
So
one thing that I'm having to contend with is others in my industry who just can't grasp, excuse me, they cannot grasp the concept of how I've been conducting business. They can't fathom being involved in the community like that, serving the community like that, and working to help others. That's what they can't really, they don't understand that concept. And that's what makes me different from everybody else.
Boy, Earl, you are just serving these segues up on a silver platter, because you want to talk about being different than everybody else. How about being the most marketable character on the planet? We have probably the most pronounced character of everybody in our circles. I think Earl and Alan will
Santa is
agree.
in the house.
Santa Papa John. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the
Hello,
show.
gentlemen
Yeah,
and
Merry
ladies.
Christmas.
How are we doing today?
Oh my gosh, we are rocking the house.
Yeah, Merry Christmas,
Hey,
Chris. Santa.
What's going
Well,
on?
Hey, Santa, how are you? Santa and I actually have a one-on-one coming up, so his sleigh bell must have been ringing and then said, oh, there he is. So,
Actually, it was Miss Emily doing her wonderful housekeeping, going, hey, if you're free, pop in. And I was just finishing up, had the son pop in and his wife with the grandchildren, so I had to visit with them for a little bit. And, I thought I better come down and had to watch a video. And then I thought, well, now I got to pop in here and say what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, so we go from family to family, as our friend Denise Fargo gets to say
Absolutely.
it. Yeah, so our H&P
Absolutely.
family. So So we've got Christmas in July going on, Santa Papa John.
Dude,
So
I've I've got a few events booked, and I get to call bingo here in a couple weeks. So looking forward to that. That'll be interesting with the family and the kids, and see what kind of response I get from the kids.
yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier, John, about water skiing, and I get in front of water ski show audiences, and I explained to them that back in 1922, Ralph Samuelson took clothesline, and he was a guy that he wasn't afraid to just rip apart a beer barrel, wooden beer barrel, and take a couple of those planks and go ski on those things out there and on Lake Pepin in Lake City, Minnesota, a little ways from where you are, John, but in your state of Minnesota. Minnesota is the birthplace of water skiing, and so I'm
You
telling
just
you what,
answered
John,
my question. Is that where it really started, or was it over in England where they did goofy things way back when?
I am not familiar with
Oh
the.
yeah, the history. Yeah, they're basically that got started over in England. Uh, I even know the history on that one.
But what was the year? We're talking 1922 in Lake Pepin, Lake City, Minnesota. What year are we talking about in England? I'm not familiar being
Let's
earlier than
see.
1922.
Hang on.
All right,
Uh-oh.
we're gonna
We're
do a
gonna get
fact checker here.
we're gonna do a fact check.
You can tell it's a political year. We got the fact checkers out like nobody's business, but it's
Let's see. Well, now according to what I am seeing here, um, yeah, basically, what was it? I know it was back in the 1930s.
You got you've seen the videos of the horses pulling the kids in the ditches with the water skis on. So
Yeah, oh yeah,
come
that's
on,
been
you
around
got
for
to think it
ages.
went back further than that.
Oh yeah, that's been around for ages. Uh,
My son was looking at a book that I've got on my coffee table of my hometown, Kenora, Ontario. They won the Stanley Cup in 1907, and at that time they were only a town of like 2,000 people.
yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, they're still claiming that water skiing was invented here in the States in 22 up in Minnesota. Uh,
Wow.
they are, yeah, but there is a history over in England as well. But we've basically that got started back in 1922. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I'm getting on my searches. One of the first water skiing centers in the UK opened at
that
Roos
wasn't until the 50s.
Lido in 1950s. The reservoir was developed in Lido in 1933 and opened in 1936, but the water skiing stories in the 1950s in
Yeah,
UK.
yep.
So there you go. So a little thing, and we bring that up with John because if there's any way I can help it, we're gonna get John water skiing.
Yeah. I do recall
Yeah,
seeing a video once where yeah, Santa was on water skis.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen a few of them too as well, Earl.
Yeah, we've got sit skis, adaptive equipment, whatever you need, John. We'll have a water ski fashion for you. So we gotta build up the energy in here, folks, because we have Mariana Waikiki, Mariana de Mexico. We got acts of kindness coming in here. But Alan, I want to give you a chance a little bit to kind of build up on, uniqueness, distinction, and this thing of, we haven't gotten into what it means to be Santa approved, but we're going to show a little bit of the power of networking. Because Alan, I want you to use your master connector mantra and explain the power of what Santa Papa John does and his Santa Approved program and show people how we do a little something I call third-party verification. So what do you have to say about Santa Papa John, Alan? What's all there for
Well,
us?
well, absolutely. First of all, every time I see Papa John, my heart it just gets me very speechless, because anybody knows it's hard to keep me speechless. But yeah, for those who don't know, my foster mother, so his heavenly foster mother, birthday was 10 days before Christmas. And when I was a little one, I guess I I didn't always have this big mouth of one and talk a lot, but I just enjoyed life back then. And it was 10 days before Christmas. We went to kind of church and families, and every time I see Papa John, it just makes me realize that how Christmas in July, in this case of this July 6, 2024, that I'm humbled and I'm looking forward to on 101. And yes, my goal is to be Center approved, because to show you that miracles do happen, there was a gift that was given to me. Marianne Waikiki, who may be our guest coming up on Wednesday, and that she'll show you miracles do happen in the month of July. So it was because of that mantra with the mastery of connections and collaborative connect and networking and uniqueness that Papa John brings to the table. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and let it, as they say, the reindeer. I'm not Rudolph or any of them. I'm going to slide back to give the mic back to Mr. Kurt Roscoff, because there's a young lady in Hawaii, which is a little bit farther from California, but she's waiting in the wings, Mr. Kurt. I think my earpiece says me she's waiting in the wings. Back to you, Seth.
All right. Thank you, Alan. So, Marianne, I want to give you a chance if you wanted to unmute and say any initial thoughts as you're making your entry into the world of ability. Do you have any update announcements, things you want to address right now, right away, Marianne? Checking in with you. Mariana de Mexico. She may be getting. Oh, here she comes.
They got a conversation going on with themselves.
Marianne, are you ready for us here at World of Ability? I hear you and a bunch of people in the background. What's happening?
Crack you
We're
up,
at the
Kurt.
nail salon, Kurt. We're getting pampered. I just set up my Zoom account with a new iPhone. I'll connect a little bit later.
All right, no problem. Enjoy. All right, there you go. We got a little bit of roving report here.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
the ladies, what's the word? Pampering is happening by the sounds of it.
Yeah, very nice. We gotta get pampered once in a while, So yeah,
Yep,
there's having
yep.
fun and there's also self-care. So what a way to have self-care, but to be pampered. So
Well, it's part of the scenario that you have to get pampered once in a while to appreciate what you have and what you don't have in life now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been told.
Yeah. But John, continue on that element of appreciation. And oh, look at that. Marianne is kind of displaying her nails for us a little bit. They're all worked up there. Look at that, giving recognition. There we go. We're getting a pedicure. Oh my gosh, living the life of a star as she is a star, Marianne. All right.
There you go.
So, all right. So, John, I want you to have a chance in the line of appreciation. You have a program about thank yous and so forth.
The power of networking, Kurt. I mean, there is the optimum story is right there. I had a lady reach out to me. Earl, you might get a giggle out of this one. I had a lady reach out to me and she says, Santa, SOS, call me as soon as you can. I went, okay, what's up? So I called her back and she said, I had an exceptional customer experience with a bank this morning. I went, time out. Those 4 words don't exist in the same sentence. She said, no. She said, I had a problem with a bank for over 7 weeks. And I finally talked to a different lady this morning and she said, she asked some different questions. So she was able to find out what the problem was in a different style because she asked different questions. Well, she was able to solve this problem that nobody else seemed to be having to solve the problem. So the lady said to me, can you quickly whip up a video to show my appreciation by saying thank you? And we as humans tend to forget to say please and thank you a lot of the times. So I quickly whipped up a video. It was only like a 40-second video. It didn't take me very long. And I included the lady's name and the lady, the bank's name and stuff like this, some of the key important factors. And sent it off back to this lady, and she absolutely loved it. She sent it off to the bank, and it's made its way all the way up to the bank manager. And I thought, what a cool way of saying please and thank you. When you get that extra special customer that, normally, I don't know, pick a number, say they normally order $500 worth of services and they suddenly order 5,000. Well, that might call for a little bit of a specialized touch from your company and from Santa. So I thought, man, if I could make thank you videos on behalf of other customers and other businesses to their customers, what a special touch that would be, and then I talked to a construction guy owner out in Denver here a week ago, and he says, I'm going to order 500 of those because that's what a way to say, thank you to my customers. And I thought, let's do her. But, it's just another way of the power of networking. People are giving me ideas so that I can put a twist on them and a tweak on them a little bit so that I can make them unique to Santa Papa John and to my customers and their customers. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It is very cool. So Earl, I want to kind of get into your wheelhouse on that a little bit in terms of gratitude, thank yous, and we heard about video. We're here on live stream with YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn Lives, but there's other ways we can do messages on video and video production and getting them out there for marketing purposes. What is the whole realm of what John spoke to? How does that show up in your work, Earl?
Well, videos play a huge part of it now. Just due to the fact that it's all about presenting yourself the best way possible on video. Because that's what's going to help attract new business, people interested, and gain people to take interest and follow what you're doing. That's the whole reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, to work with individuals and small business in order to help them create that, because there's still a lot of business owners out there who basically are not aware that by creating these short video clips and possibly having their own podcast to showcase their business will actually help to improve their business. So it's all about presentation. It's all about presence in the community. It's all about visibility.
Absolutely, Earl. I agree with that. And the more you get your face out there, the more you get your voice out there, the more you're going to be recognized, the more you can help other people, even though it's your business. But we all know the power of networking is you help other people out. You never know who they're going to say, hey, I know a guy, or I know a girl, that can help you out with your business because of the services they do.
Right.
And
before you came in, Santa, I had mentioned that this year I had applied basically the mantra that from my work with Lions International, is that the motto is we serve. And I've applied that to my own business. And by helping others, by being a strong presence in the community and being there for when people need assistance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But there has to be a balancing point for the people that want your services. Well, just help me out for free, because, it's just something. There has to be a balancing point where they're expecting you or they're asking you to do for free versus paying you for your services, so they show the appreciation that you can do to help their businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what my town is having a hard time, because it's really weird how this town has an attitude of that they're cottage country to Minneapolis. So they want the big people coming out of the cities to pay all the big dollars, but when it comes to them hiring services or people like you, Earl, or like myself, or Kurt or Alan or whoever, well, can you do it for free or can you do it for a discount? Because I don't have much money, but yet they're charging the people in the city 5 times going rate.
Right.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, my little city has that kind of attitude. So, I don't know. I've lived here for almost 24 years, and I see the same thing. Uh, you know, Back 20 years ago to even today. Well, you're sorry, you're too expensive. The other guys are doing it for $50. So even though you can justify to many people the value you bring, the prices that you're charging, what you can do to help promote their business by using services that you originate and coordinate with, price still discern price still determines a lot of services.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Earl, you're seeing it, and I'm seeing it even in the DJ world.
Oh yeah.
I've been a DJ for 40 years, and now I'm just picking and choosing. But the conversation starts, where is your budget? And
Right.
a lot of people are saying, well, I only want to spend $500. I only want to spend, six, seven, $800. Sorry, I mean, there's people out there that do it and there's people that
Oh
don't.
yeah.
And, you know,
There is. I see.
yep.
I'm seeing it constantly this year.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
basically, I've only offered to, well, okay. Earlier this year, I did a special where, and it had to be a local couple to my community
Yep.
that I would give away one wedding for free.
Yep.
The kicker is nobody took advantage of it.
Really?
Nobody took me up on that offer. It's like, okay. So basically I switched gears and used the motto of we serve and said, okay, I'm going to be doing this to work with people on tight budgets. And I would even accept payments. That worked.
Really?
But yet, no one local took advantage of that one free wedding. And it's
Yeah.
like, really?
I
Okay.
remember a conversation. I mean, this is going back 20 years. Kurt, you'll get a giggle out of this one. Lady phones me up and she says, we're having a backyard wedding for my brother. They're on a tight budget and we're going to have a pig roast and we're going to have a bonfire. We were deciding on, putting burning some CDs and having a boom box and stuff like that. And someone said, well, why don't you get a DJ? So I'm phoning around and I said, so what have you got to spend on a DJ? Well, we bought, 4 kegs and we really don't have much left for a DJ. Can you do something for like $200? And I said to him, I said, it sounds like a wonderful plan. A wonderful, fun time, the big bonfires and, everybody sharing ideas and celebrating the idea of your brother's wedding. I said, my idea is stick with plan A and buy another keg of beer. Because the reality of it is, Earl, you've got them in your community as well. There are guys out there that will DJ for $100. Just
Oh
feed
yeah.
me some beer and I'll do it for
Yeah.
$100 and we'll have all kinds of fun. I said, but the reality of those guys is, they probably won't have the microphone. They might not have the music that you're looking for. They might not have a sound system big enough for your backyard. But you know, the reality of a new keg and the boom box and the CDs, nobody's going to bitch and complain about how crappy the DJ was or how terrible his microphone was, because now everybody's having a good time because there's another keg there and the bonfire is going. And you know, you can relate this story to almost any business. Kurt, you know, you and Emily have all the wonderful things to do podcasts, but Billy's going to try and do it all by himself. And all of a sudden he's doing, and maybe, you know, the camera is crappy and it's not as blurry. We see it in every type of industry that's going. Somebody wants to do it for free. Somebody wants to do it for $20. Until you start seeing the value of what a professional can do for you and how the professional can promote your business, it's a much better situation.
That's true. That's very true. And like I said, I run onto it constantly. And speaking of buying another keg, while I was up in Minnesota, because I first started out in Minnesota.
Yeah, you said in St. Cloud, which is only 60
St.
minutes south
Cloud,
of
yep.
me.
And I wound up doing a 16-year-old birthday party at Family Home. And everything was going great. And long towards the end of the evening, I happened to glance over, and the mother of the daughter who was having a birthday, she was doing keg stands.
We have all seen the stories. Well, maybe Kurt hasn't seen those types. Oh, wait, he had a. Oh no, he wouldn't have seen those stories because I've heard his college days excitement stories. What about you, or Alan? Are you relating to any of this stuff? Hi, Sherry.
You forgot with the straight out of Compton. Of course I did. Yeah, of course. Cake stands and my wife she hasn't drinking since 2017 because of obviously medication, mental illness. But back then, back in 2017, I looked up and came home and I said, why in the world are both feet stuck up in there? That's how I learned what a kick stand is. I said, now wait a minute. And of course, being in Germany from 87 and 90, I was over there when the original, not the United States, the original Oktoberfest, where you saw somebody on Monday and didn't see them until 3 Mondays away. And that's when they're that small. And I'm like, huh? I was over there when the Germans won the World Cup, the Berlin Wall came down, and this world was given this thing called the internet. So, you're talking about, see, the Christmas in July thing keeps coming because we have to just collaborate, connect with various ways. And believe me, Alan Holmes was on the original Autobahn, the one where I drove 80 miles in 20 minutes. And yeah, that's a story for another day. But yeah, but I don't never drink and drive. Always, follow Santa, follow your thing unless we get on the reindeer. And one of these days we will be. I can see myself on the reindeer, just chugging along and dropping gifts along. I love. So you're gonna have me back in the. Oh, I'm having fun now. Kurt, where was I? I digress. I do that. I go down rabbit holes, and you ask me one question, I'm all over there. I love this. What? I love this.
Kurt is about to say probably the same thing as I am. Sorry, Earl, I stepped on you.
We also have Sherry Wallace in the house. Welcome in.
And she's
she said, let it be
what
free.
Kind of conversation am I getting myself into?
I heard you say something about doing stuff for free, and my ears perked up. I'm making funerals free again.
Yes, you are, girl. Yes, you are. And more people need to know about your amazing, wonderful program that can change a lot of people's lives.
Santa, I don't know if you know it or not, but on Christmas morning 2022, I went on Zillow and I said, Lord, I'm going to find us our first cemetery, then I'm going to make funerals free. And it was the first property that I found. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was a 300-acre, 200-year-old historic, lovely estate, $3,200,000. And it was so beautiful. And I said, this is it, isn't it, Lord? And the Lord said, yes, it is. And all my friends said, you are drinking too much. It's Christmas morning and you're trying to get this $3 million property. How come we can't try to get a 20 acres at the bottom of a cornfield? And I said, what, nobody's going to be interested in 20 acres at the bottom of a cornfield for their cemetery. I want the best of the best, the nicest of the nice. So this property turns out to be 30 minutes from my house. And I'm like, no way. Can this really happen? Can this? Well, here we are. The realtor called us 2 weeks ago, didn't she, Kurt? Maybe 3 weeks now. We're dragging ass. Excuse me, sorry, Santa. Calls me out of the blue and says the owners of the estate, this is 2 years later, the owners of the estate said that they would rent it to you for 1 year to raise the money for it. And if you can raise the money in 1 year, you can buy it. So we're going to rent it sometime mid-August. We're going to rent this thing for $6,000 a month. But that's well, I've really got to raise I'm looking to raise $14,000 a day every day to get to 5 million at the end of the year.
Woo! There's some serious goals.
My blood pressure's going up.
But the power of networking, there's 6 people on here. If we share to 6 people, to 6 people, to 6 people, to 6 people, you know, we're well over, 300 or 400 or 500 or 600 or 800. I don't even know. I'm just using some magic numbers out of my head. But if we're all to contribute $10 and forefront is start this, the power of the network. I mean, you hear it all the time where, people run into these poor people and they run into a GoFundMe page, and all of a sudden the GoFundMe page is at, $200,000 in, 48 hours or 50 hours or whatever the case may be. I mean, if you were to go into some of these communities that, which way do you want to go? Do you want to go to the rich people and say, this is a way to turn things around, or you want to go into the poorhouse and say, you can't afford to bury your loved ones, but this is an opportunity so that everybody can bury their loved ones.
This is so cool. Even the squeegee kid can do it. Okay.
Absolutely.
What I've got, I just did a $1 raffle. And so we can raise money $1 at a time. And then at the end of the raffle, we're going to draw, make sure we'll have 300,000 names. And the squeegee kid bought a $1 raffle. Now he can get into the cemetery. It's a one-time $100 lifetime rights to be buried on the mansion at the property. And if it takes you your whole life to pay $100, then so be it. Maybe we'll forgive him and let him on in. But even the squeegee kid, we don't need the rich people to do this for us. I had somebody tell me the other day, well, if I hit the lottery, I'll buy it for you. I don't need somebody to buy me the property. I need a society, don't we, Kurt? We need one person at a time. And then we'll have a cemetery society, and we'll take care of each other.
Absolutely. One at a time.
About like me wanting to turn the our now defunct mall into one huge event center, and also have it open for other vendors to open up shops within that mall as well, and have everything all under one roof.
That's
Yep.
a fantastic idea. I've often thought about even these burnt out buildings with no roofs on them, but they've still got the cool old brick walls or historic brick exterior, and turning those into either, yeah, event centers. I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you, Earl?
I am in Waterloo, Iowa. Uh, I am also a ordained minister, so I do funerals and weddings.
Fantastic. I've been looking for a minister. I got so much bottled up in my head. By God Almighty. I, we really do need a minister, don't we, Kurt?
We
We need
do.
we need a bunch of them. Kurt is on my board of directors, and he is working this project with me. Like, has he told you guys about the Let's Be Trees?
No, he has not.
Oh.
So here we are. We are revolutionizing the funeral industry. You heard it here from Sherry, the founder, creator, the one called to bring this forward to the masses. You're hearing hundreds of thousands of people. And so, yeah, we need this mastery of connection, Alan, and everything we've got here. We need the most marketable character on the planet to help drive this, John. And our minister Earl here, we've got the crew that can help do this. We're talking natural burials and
Yep.
trying to,
Nationwide.
yeah, nationwide. And I see it evolving to an international, flair. We had Veronica here from the UK, and this is available to the world.
Emmerich Fay is checking with his pastor now. Emmerich is in Kenya. He wrote this amazing song called God's Calling. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he's going to see about getting Let's Be Trees under our kind of umbrella. He's going to start getting suits and burial clothes donated from the United States to Kenya, because that's the biggest expense that families have in Kenya is the burial clothes, he told me. So we're going to see if we can't start getting men's suits or whatever people might want to be buried in Kenya. Yeah. So we are going to go nation or worldwide.
Sherry, congratulations, as well as thank you for doing what you're doing. My brother-in-law was hit and killed in March of 2020. We still don't know what happened, but one thing I do know, he's looking down on myself and my wife, and I know that what you're talking about, the funeral, is something that is kind of obviously a conversation that is really hard to talk about it, but at the same time, you're making a mission. And I, as a person who is a master of connections, as my wonderful Kurt and Emily has alluded to, is thank you for doing what you're doing. You're changing families' lives. You're giving them a piece of closure, and you're allowing them to as you say, I wrote it down, let's be trees. I have a couple of ideas rolling around in my head right now. People know that I dream in color, so I'm going to send some positive vibes. And I don't want to make any broken promises, but I will say this: we got you, we love you, and we support you from all the way from California to the Minnesota to the hills of UK. All of you, and you're dreaming from the passion and bottom of my heart. God bless you, and let's change the world, young lady. Back to you, Terry, because I believe there's a young lady in Marianne waiting in the wings.
There we go. So yeah, we are coming up on the conclusion, the finale of our show, and we're gonna do it with Marianne and Leon here. So we're gonna go acts of kindness and Clean Water Foundation. That'll be our final part of today's show. So Marianne, take it away. You are the end of the show. give us what you got for us today, and then we are out of here because we are at the end of the show. So, but Marianne, we want to get your program in. So what do you have from Acts of Kindness?
A couple of days and like grateful to this this year. And working with Leon, we're looking forward to talking with you, Kurt, and Alex Hill from the Great Discovery to find out about this package deal for content creator, which I am the Acts of Kindness series author and Apple game developer. And we can bring my next books into Audible, as well as translating them into 500 different countries down the road. I have a couple of videos that I created when I was in studio recording the first book, Underwater Acts of Kindness, and how we can translate it. So the decision is, which top 5 languages do we choose to translate these in? So obviously Spanish is one, and we'll talk about that. Also, I need to get a hold of the master connector. I got a new iPhone. I think we're not going to be locked out, so we can move forward with apps. And so the master connector, I need you to connect with me so we can set up a time to find some people to help with the Acts of Kindness series projects. What I've been doing this past this whole week, and Kurt and I and Emily had a conversation, is Awesome Foundation has grants. They give a monthly $1,000 out to people requesting $1,000. There's several different categories for disability, persons with disability, climate change, there's on the water, then there's several cities. So I'm being very creative to take the time to fill out these applications, and you can upload 5 photos of our projects. And one of the things that we're uploading is the flyer for the disability channel to hire Jay to hire on persons with disabilities to do a 12-week marketing campaign. And Alan, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. It's not that expensive, starting out at $500 for a corporate sponsor, $400 for a musician, and then there's also a $750. But again, what it is, it's employing persons with disabilities who would help market the Acts of Kindness series, get the word out there with our animation videos. Now that we can translate them, who knows? We have French, and it could be French Canadian for the Toronto market. We want to make that happen. So that's where I've been working on, and applying for these grants, sending pictures to On the Water in Seattle, showing what Leon's doing with his fundraisers in Kirkland. And he was in Las Vegas. So I don't know if he was on earlier. I was not able to attend.
I'm still here.
But
I'm on now.
Okay, great.
He came on when you did.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Great. Yeah, I was busy, uploading all these different in Texas, and Texas has school fly. Then they asked me for my, and I said I'm on a book signing. So if there's costs in Texas, they can apply. So there's a lot of different ways we can do it. And that's have to be responding. I also apply to stand because I hire on the fiber team. That's the blender going because it's so hot here. So I asked for Pakistan Awesome Foundation for the $1,000 to hire on the fiber team in Pakistan, and I uploaded pictures of them. Each individual one makes app games, one makes t-shirts, one makes the book flyers, one makes the cover of the books, and expressing that the audience over there is 65 million people in Pakistan are deaf. And my suspicion is due to unnecessary warfare. And so there's all just different angles that we can apply, and we have to apply every month to be reviewed. So we can attract this funding in different venues. So that's pretty exciting. So Master Connector, you can help us out too with some of these projects. It's not that expensive, and we look forward to talking with Alex about translating the books and this great discovery low fee for $500 to get us moving forward this month. So very excited to work with Leon. He's moving forward too. We also written chapter 3 called Water is Life for our book, Cool Acts of Kindness. And guess what? We have Captain Leon as a guest speaker at the summer camp, the Aloha Ina camp. And I think Suzanne has written a good job, and she's really passionate about doing research such as I get a lot of emails about plastics, about animal life, about climate change. So we're really doing our research to put really good, helpful information into these chapters that's educated. And we also put in Dr. Emoto's The Messages of Water book, where Leon reads that to the children. And oh, by the way, I got an email too. I had a busy one day. I just was getting all these amazing emails, a unidirection. I talked to Jeanette, who is in Hawaii, Hawaii Kai. They are hiring volunteers, actually for the Navy, to have a summer camp at the end of this month. They haven't had it since COVID. They were building bunks and a library. I talked to her. She was so excited to hear about our books. They'll put the books into the library. And who knows, maybe Lucy can play her crystal bowls out there too. And I contacted Lucy and said, hey, apply for On the Water. You can do your crystal bowls on the water of Waikiki Beach, get $1,000 towards our program. So there's so many things that Awesome Foundation is doing, and shared all that information to this pollution trash problem in Waikiki. I got a newsletter from the Silver Beach, and they want us to write a 800-word campaign. So I sent them the press release. What we're doing is just crazy and devastating. How these hotels and people is coming, and the garbage. And one final thing was got a letter from Reese Witherspoon, the actress Reese Witherspoon, and her organization called Hello Sunshine. And I forwarded her the press release kit as well as the PDF books. So down the road, we'll send her directly the books in Hollywood, California, Beverly Hills, California, Leon. So you never know, down the road, we could get some attraction from that. And I also emailed a teacher, Diego, a principal actually in Tucson, who stayed with us with his great daughters who love the book. And so PDFs were being sent out so people can review the books, so we can save a little bit on energy and mailing. And when the books, they want to bring the books forward, we can do that as also. So again, that's the blender. I think it's margarita time here on Saturday here. It's so hot in Mexico. We had rain. So back to you, Leon. And let's talk to Alex Hilda. Let's get signed up. That's productive month of July. Alex, we need to talk, or Alan, we need to talk to you. So there's my information. I got a new iPhone. Let's get us on the podcast with you, okay? Let's find some.
Yes, I believe that you're supposed to be on Wednesday, Marianne or Leon. If you're hearing it's kind of a get with Emily and for any of those, Mastery of Connections at Gmail. That's just we need your bio, and love to have you on there Wednesday and just see how we can spread the word. And you, Marianne, your meet. I don't know if you met Sherry Wallace, but she has a Let's Be Trees. An incredible platform that can talk about as well. But yeah, that's what the Massive Connections is. But in this case, we are here with the incredible winding down Mr. Kurt Roscoff. Back to you. It's been an incredible ride, sir. Santa Papa, thank you, brother. We love you. Leon, I see you out there somewhere. Kurt, Emily, back to you. We're ready to wrap it up. I guess so. I don't know where you are, Wisconsin. Emily, I see that sky in the background.
Yep. So Leon, we wanted to give you a chance to give your insights on the Clean Water Foundation. What's going on? How are things looking in July, Leon? And what's in the news? Great news to hear you're going to be a speaker for that event. Tell us more.
Yeah, I'm actually in Las Vegas right now because I'm working with one of the producers of Amazon Prime, one of the videographers. So I'll be doing a show with him on Monday. And they were the ones that actually did the Bill and Melinda Gates 5-year anniversary film that we did. So that's going to be great. We have a concert coming up with an opera jazz singer on July 14th. And we're calling it a garden party fundraiser for the Hopi and the Navajo children. So that's coming up real good. And then by the end of July, we should be having that funding from the private equity group. So things are going super well. It couldn't be better. If anybody want to join us, they can go to www.cleanwaterfoundationwa.org for any donations, or if musicians want to join us to play, get in contact with us. But things are going really well. The show that I'll be doing on Monday with the Amazon Prime producers, and then the 14th of July to do the garden party fundraiser.
All right, garden parties. Here we go. We love parties here at the World of Ability Podcast Network and the World of Ability Show. So we're going to go back to Emily Gulmer, our co-host, podcast engineer, scheduler, virtual assistant, super helper with the OMG EMG. We're going to do Emily's conclusion and outro. Take it away, Emily.
Just wanted to thank everybody, Veronica, Alan, Earl, Santa, Sherry, Marianne, Leon, for joining us today. And we are here every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central for the World of Ability podcast. Would encourage everybody to join us as a guest. So if you're interested, let us know, as well as join in on any of our other shows as well. Also, I'd like to give a special thanks to Marcus Hart of Transforming Media, Zach Clayton of the PAC channel, Jay Stoyan of the Disability channel, and Lawrence Wingate of Wingate Studios for their support of the network and our shows and replaying them and so on. So, and until next time, hope everybody has a safe and productive week and stay happy.